What is the hardest upcoming top 1 in Geometry Dash? That is what many players have asked since the start of 2026. That is the question I'm going to answer today in this video to figure out which one deserves the top 1 spot. The first thing we're going to look at is the precision of each click in the levels. We're specifically talking about each frame perfect. A frame perfect is where you have one frame to land the jump. Let me show you some examples. Now let's see how many frame perfects each top 1 has. Now you might be saying, oh, that's easy. Just choose the one that has the most frame perfects and that's the hardest one. Well, not quite. Frame perfects isn't the only criteria for a top 1 being the hardest. Let me show you some other ones. Another thing we need to realize is the decoration. This mainly focuses on the visuals of the level. It really depends if it's hard to see or if it's easy to see. Let me show you some examples. Levels like Tsunami and Exasperation are easier to see. Levels like Grief and Angelicide are not easy to see. I don't even want to know how unemployed the young lion doggy is trying to verify a level that has 250 frame perfects in the pitch dark. Before we continue, can you please support me by subscribing and liking if you really want to see more videos like this? I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's keep going on with the video. Now let's rank how hard it is to see every top 1. Now that we know how dark or how bright each level is, let's see how long the levels are and if they maintain their difficulty throughout the entire level. Grief is an extra long level with around 2 minutes and 30 seconds of difficulty, around always staying as top 1, which means it's very consistent and very long. Heliopolis is also an extra long level, and it always has precision-focused gameplay. Vehemence is around the average length and has around the same difficulty throughout the whole level. Angelicide is a long level but very fast-paced and has very difficult gameplay throughout the whole level. Cockbox Unleashed gameplay is slightly unbalanced as the pre-drop is very easy but the drop is very hard. Most of the level is the same difficulty except the pre-drop, which is much easier than the rest of the level. Exasperation is actually very unbalanced. For example, the first 3/4 of the level is actually very hard, but the last quarter is very easy. Tsunami is like tidal wave, staying top 1 difficulty throughout the entire extra long level. The last few things we need to talk about is the tempo of each level and what frame perfects they use. And then we talk about the overall difficulty of each top 1. When I say tempo, I mean how fast a level is and how long they keep it that way. The faster a level is, the harder it is to learn and memorize the click pattern, which makes it much harder. While levels like Heliopolis always stay in 0.5 speed, which makes it easier to learn, levels like Grief are always very fast, which makes it very hard to learn the click pattern. Grief, Angelicide, Sweeping Demon 2, and Tsunami are all fast-paced, Vehemence is medium-paced, and Exasperation and Heliopolis are very slow-paced. This means that Grief, Angelicide, Tsunami, Cockbox Unleashed, and Sweeping Demon 2 are all not very learnable, while Vehemence, Exasperation, and Heliopolis is. Now let's see what game mode they use for frame perfects and how difficult they made each game mode in their levels. Now you're probably thinking, a game mode is a game mode and a frame perfect is a frame perfect. They're all the same difficulty, right? Not quite. Let me show you what I mean. There's a depth to every game mode frame perfect. Spider's the easiest with one input and being very simple. Ball, cube, UFO is also around the same, just harder to control. Wave and robot is next. They both require two inputs, click and release. But robot is slightly harder to control. Then it's ship, being very hard to control. Click, hold, release. I am not including Swing Copter because no one used it in any of their top ones. Most top ones focus on the wave gameplay, but levels like Angelicide, Heliopolis, Vehemence, all are mostly all-rounders for their gameplay. Now it's time for the most controversial part of the video, ranking each top one by the difficulty. Remember, this is just my opinion, so please don't blame me in the comments. I chose Tsunami as my top one because not only is it extremely fast-paced and has very difficult gameplay along with many frame perfects, it utilizes many game modes, making it very hard in many different areas. I chose Grief as my number 2. I don't know how this is easier than Cockblock Unleashed, but it isn't for me. It has very tight wave gaps, a lot of frame perfects, and it's just really hard overall. Like, it's taken 2 years for Doggy to verify this. Like, ain't no way. The only problem is that it doesn't utilize many game modes. I chose Heliopolis as my number 3. Of course, that doesn't mean it's easier than Grief. It's a very close second. However, it is 0.5 speed, which makes it much easier because it's more learnable. However, it does not mean it's easier than Grief. It is very hard with precision-based gameplay. I chose Cockblock Unleashed as my number 4. And no, I don't think it's harder than Grief. Don't get me wrong, it's very hard as it's the unnerved version of Cockblock, but I just don't think it's harder than Grief. But it's 4 times speed wave and unpredictable gameplay makes it very hard, especially with our Shadow's Pirate Eye buff. Now, before you guys read the comment section, I would put this at number 4, but since a lot of people think Cockblock Unleashed is harder than Grief, I just have to put it at 5. But it's 4 times speed. Game modes are actually very hard, don't get me wrong, and they have a lot of frame perfects. So this doesn't mean it's easy. Yes, Vehemence is very hard, but I think the other levels are harder. But this doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't have many frame perfects, but that doesn't mean it's not hard. It's still extremely hard with this ship-based gameplay and it's very fast game modes. Exasperation is very hard, but it's not at all of the parts. Some of the parts are actually pretty easy, like the wave span at the end. But of course, the hard parts are very, very, very hard. Putting Sweeping Demon 2 at last place is definitely very controversial, but I just think the other levels are harder. I hope you guys agree with me, but the level just seems much easier than the other ones. Maybe I'll put it above Exasperation if I change my mind later, but right now, Sweeping Demon 2 is at last place, unfortunately.